Mr. President, why are you losing to Trump in the polls?
Back up.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about Sleepy Joe Biden, who, fortunately for him, he is okay after his motorcade was involved in a car crash as Biden was leaving a restaurant on Sunday night in Wilmington, Delaware. His motorcade got hit by some random person who appeared to be a drunk driver.
Now to that collision involving President Biden's motorcade, a car crashing into a parked SUV that was part of the president's motorcade near his campaign headquarters in Wilmington, Delaware. Our senior White House correspondent Selena Wang has the latest on that. Good morning, Selena.
Hey, Lindsay, good morning. That was a scary moment, but President Biden is safe after that car crashed into a part of the president's motorcade. Overnight, a security scare for President Biden, a car slamming into an SUV that was part of the president's motorcade, just as Biden was leaving his campaign headquarters in reigning Wilmington, Delaware.
Mr. President,
you can see in the video, the president just finished answering a question from a reporter. Then, a loud crash. Biden stopping in his tracks, clearly startled as the sedan crashes into the vehicle, protecting the rest of the motorcade. Secret Service agents rushing the president into his SUV, where the First Lady was already waiting. Neither were injured. Officers surround the sedan that rammed into the motorcade, the driver putting his hands up. Police say investigators are working to determine if driver impairment was a factor. Sources say it appears there was no ideological motivation behind the crash. And Secret Service says that the president's motorcade left without any problems and that there is no further threat related to that crash. The White House says both the president and First Lady are fine. Robin?
Good to know that, Selena. Thank you.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Now, there was a part of the video that the mainstream liberal media didn't really want to cover or talk about, which was the question that Joe Biden was asked as he was leaving dinner, which was his opinion on the polls, right? And why he is down in the polls against Trump, which again is something that Joe Biden got confronted on before this crash. Something that, again, the mainstream liberal media, they don't want to talk about too much.
New Fox News polls show Donald Trump and Nikki Haley beating President Biden in a hypothetical 2024 general election matchup. Same poll shows Ron DeSantis in a tie with Biden at 47%. But the president thinks all these polls are the problem.
Mr. President, why are you losing to Trump in the polls?
Wrong polls. Fox News contributor and columnist for The Messenger, Joe Concha, joins me now. Joe, what polls is Biden reading? Because, quite frankly, every poll that I saw out this month shows him losing to Trump, losing to Haley, in a tie with DeSantis, if not losing to DeSantis.
And Todd, we're even seeing polls now that show President Biden as low as 33% approval. Let's put that in context. We are now entering the kind of territory Richard Nixon was in 1974 before he resigned. You have to go back to the same questions when you're talking about this president that most likely Americans are asking every day. Is he too old? Yes. Is he mentally or physically capable to do the job? No. Is he mentally or physically capable to do the job for another 4 years? No. Will he improve or decline with age? I think that's the rhetorical question to end all rhetorical questions. We know the answer.
Yeah, so Biden was confronted on why is he losing to Trump in the polls, right? Why are you losing to Trump in the polls? Which is a great question that the media never ask Biden, right? They don't ask cringe Jean-Pierre that question either. Why are you losing to Trump, right? Why are you losing to Trump? Especially since everything is so great, right? Bidenomics is amazing. The economy is the best it's ever been. We didn't just have a recession just a few months ago before you guys changed the definition of a recession to fit the narrative and to push your agenda. No. Everything is amazing in the Biden economy and Biden's America. The border's closed. Crime is down. Again, everything is awesome, right? But again, that begs the question of, why are you losing to Trump? Now, again, according to Biden, you're looking at the wrong polls. But even Biden, for as demented as he appears to be, even he doesn't believe that, right? That's a lie, right? Because behind closed doors, allegedly, Biden is reportedly upset about strings of polls showing him losing to Trump. So behind closed doors, Biden is upset. He's furious about losing to Trump. And I want to talk about it, but before we get into it, we have to have a word from the sponsor of this video, BioTrust. When it comes to anti-aging, we are all looking for that miracle pill. Generally, you need to try multiple products that target different areas of the skin to fully combat the appearance of aging. Some supplements may attempt to reduce wrinkles, while others may bring back firmness to sagging skin. Believe it or not, I have found a solution that removes the need for juggling with multiple anti-aging products. It's a special type of collagen, and it's better at maintaining skin elasticity, reducing visible signs of aging, and promoting a youthful complexion than most anti-aging products I've seen typically found on store shelves. Tens of thousands of 5-star reviews back up the notion that this collagen is not only a modern day fountain of youth, but that it also removes the need for us to use countless serums and anti-aging supplements. Most importantly, you can save 53% for this month only. Plus, for a limited time, you'll receive free gifts such as free shipping, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee, free VIP live fitness and health coaching for life, and a free ebook titled The 14 Foods for Amazing Skin, all at no extra cost to you. Go to healthwithpatriot.com, that's healthwithpatriot.com, or click the link in the description down below before this once-in-a-lifetime deal sells out.
You have to say, what's the main problem? How do you deal with the first problem, which is inflation and the cost of living?
Stan, the Washington Post has some new reporting out today about a meeting President Biden held with his staff about his poll numbers. And it says in part, after pardoning a pair of turkeys, an annual White House tradition,
Right.
Biden delivered some stern words for the small group assembled. His poll numbers were unacceptably low. He wanted to know what his team in his campaign were doing about it. What are they doing about it? What should they be doing about it?
Okay. Well, what the president currently is doing is still talking about progress, and you can't talk about progress when 3/4 of the country think we're on the wrong track. You have to stop on the notion that we're making progress. You have to get where people are, and where they are is on the rising prices. They need to stop with their own voters and say, "We get it. If inflation is the biggest problem, we get it. Yeah. We know what you've been through. We're in touch with that. Here's what we're dealing with it. We are going to do a child tax credit. We're going to cut drug prices. We're going to lower health care costs, and we're going to go after the big companies that are aren't paying any tax. We're going to go after profiteering. We're going to shift power from work to workers and focus again on the needs of working people."
Yeah, so you see that, you heard that, okay? So obviously that Democrat strategist has nothing, right? He has nothing that's going to help Democrats, because I don't think there's anything they can do to really help themselves in regards to Biden's approval rating, because I think part of his approval rating and the fact that he's losing in the polls to Trump and Nikki Haley, and he's tied with DeSantis, which I'm going to talk about here in a little bit, by the way. I think part of it is the fact that he's just too old, right? He's clearly too old, and it's not necessarily his age. It's the fact that his age is showing, right? Clearly, he's having some cognitive issues. And if I was Joe Biden, I would be pissed as well, too, especially if Kamala Harris is now being viewed as more popular or more favorably than Joe Biden, right? Which apparently is the case, okay? As Dems panic over dismal polls, right? So apparently Kamala Harris is more popular than Joe Biden now, okay? Which tells you everything you need to know about Biden, because Kamala, for a long time, was the only politician that was more unpopular than Joe Biden. But Joe Biden's now he's so unpopular that even Kamala is more popular than him, okay? Kamala might actually be a better candidate to replace Joe at this point, okay? Which, again, Joe, it looks like, as things stand today, that he would lose to Nikki Haley. he would lose to Trump and he would tie with DeSantis. Now, again, all the more evidence that the pro-DeSantis people or Team DeSantis were terribly wrong, dead wrong, really, when they said that, hey, don't vote for Trump because DeSantis has a better chance of beating Biden than Trump, right? When they said that with no evidence whatsoever, turns out that the closer and closer that we get to the primary in the general election, that Ron DeSantis actually turned out to be the most unelectable GOP candidate, okay? His numbers are in the tank, right? He's one of the very few people that can't beat Biden comfortably at this point. Well, why is that, right? Why is that? That is actually a question that the Republican Party should ask themselves, because at some point, Trump, he'll be done, right? There won't be any Trump anymore, and you're going to need somebody to take the party into the future. Well, unfortunately for Ron DeSantis, his career may be over if he loses, okay? If he loses in the primary, there may not be anywhere for him to go, because it seems like at the national level, he is unelectable, right? And part of the reason why is probably because of the 6-week abortion ban that he signed in the middle of the night after the midterm election was done, right? Because he thought that it would give him an advantage in Iowa, in which that turns out not to be true either, right? His 6-week abortion ban turns out doesn't mean a damn thing when it comes to the Iowa caucus, and as far as the polls are right now. Now, again, anything can happen in the election, but again, withholding some type of miracle for Ron DeSantis in Iowa on election day, it seems as if the abortion ban hurt him at the general election level and didn't help him in the primary, right? Tells you everything you need to know about that issue, and Ron DeSantis as well, too. And Ron DeSantis is somebody that I like, by the way, right? But I'm just telling the uncomfortable truth about Ron DeSantis that a lot of people, I don't think, understand. He's not that likable at the national level, right? For various reasons. And again, this is coming from somebody who likes Ron DeSantis. So that being said, we got to talk about Joe Biden, because again, this video is about Joe Biden, who at this point is more unpopular than Kamala Harris, which is an embarrassing thing for the Biden administration. For Biden himself is to be more unpopular than the most unpopular politician in probably the history of this country, right? So again, I think the reason why obviously has to do with the economy more than anything. Now, the Biden administration is saying that the numbers don't match the perception that the American people have, aka we're pissing on your leg. We're telling you that it's raining, okay? Because what the Biden administration doesn't realize is that although the rate of inflation may be coming down, we're not experiencing deflation across the board. Now, in some sectors of the economy, yes, we're experiencing some deflation, but it's not across the board. And you got to realize that when you have inflation rising 10, 15, 20, 30% over a year and a half, that is an extremely fast rate of inflation that people felt almost immediately, while also at the same time, you did not have wage growth, at least not for a vast majority of this time period. Wage growth was not keeping up with inflation. So people were objectively poor, right? People feel objectively poor. Why do they feel objectively poor? Well, because they are objectively poor, right? They are objectively poor, okay? And it doesn't matter if you have great employment in the economy. If people are saying that, hey, my dollar is not worth as much as it was just a year ago, and I have to work more in order to maintain the same standard of living, then yeah, people are not going to say that the economy is good. Doesn't matter what the rest of the economy looks like. Doesn't matter. And I think that that's something that, the Biden administration, they're miscalculating the fact that inflation rose so fast that even if things are going back to normal, you cannot discount the fact that things rose extremely quickly, right? You didn't have this happen over a 5-year period. This happened over a 1 to 2 year period. The prior period in which Trump was president, we had record low inflation, right? Abnormally low inflation, okay? And interest rates too. So then you go from that to over a short period of time. Now you're at record high inflation, record high interest rates, at least in recent history, that is. Yeah, of course, people are going to be like, yo, this is terrible, right? This is terrible, okay? So, I think that the Biden administration here, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, because I think that although it seems like it's doom and gloom for them, I do believe that it's going to come down to how people actually feel next year, okay? Because if people still continue to feel that the economy is terrible, which they probably could, right? Unless wages go up substantially without having too much inflation as a result of it, or you have some deflation and the economy not get hurt or be hurt too bad overall as a result of it. I think that Biden's just going to be, I think he's going to be toast, right? I think a year from now, people are still going to feel like the economy is terrible at the time of the election. And that's what really matters more than anything, right? How people feel at the time of the election. That will, I think, determine the outcome of the election for Joe for the most part. But if I was Joe, I would be extremely worried, right? It turns out that Democrats probably should have that primary if they actually really want to beat Trump, right? They should have that primary and allow somebody else to be the candidate, because this guy, it's not getting better for him. It is getting worse and worse and worse for Joe Biden, okay? I think at this point, it's getting into the territory where Trump is probably likely to skunk Biden in a general election, right? It won't even be close, okay? It's going to actually really be a landslide victory for Trump if things continue to go in the direction that is going in for Biden. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.